So I got something new for you. I am not an anime nor am I a manga guy. I've already said Gabriel and the Guardians is the first manga I have ever bought in my entire life, and I like it. I'll do a full review on that. I'll let a couple weeks, maybe a couple months pass, let people get it, soak it in, read it. I'll read it over again and then cover it. Try to do that to give people a time to get their stuff in, and I don't want to spoil it. But I saw this article and I said, okay, I'm not big on anime and I'm not a big manga guy, but all of the people I know who are into anime have mentioned this one anime right here. So when I saw this story, I said, okay, I'm gonna have to read this and cover it because something tells me this is a big deal. You let me know in the comments how big of a deal this is or isn't. So you see it. Here is the title. Cowboy Bebop creator says his new anime, Lazarus, originally pitched as being similar to Space Dandy, but Adult Swim wanted something more serious. Now, all of these are titles that I can tell you nothing about, but I have definitely heard the name Cowboy Bebop. And forgive me if I screw up these Japanese names. I know people who are into anime, they are serious about their pronunciations. Forgive me in advance. According to Cowboy Bebop creator Shinichiro Watanabe, think I said that right, might have been wrong. Anyway, when he was first approached by Cartoon Network to produce a new project on their dime, he originally pitched the idea of creating something akin to his comedy sci-fi series Deep Space or Space Dandy. I don't know why I said Deep Space, but pivoted to developing his newly launched Lazarus after being told by the Warner Bros. Subsidiary to make something more serious. Um, says jointly animated by the god of high school team Mappa and Sola Entertainment for Adult Swim's imprint, Toonami programming block. Lazarus introduces audiences to the not too far flung future of 2052, dropping them onto an idealistic version of the future of Earth, whose most notable discovery is the drug Hapna, a miracle painkiller capable of numbing any and all pain in a human's body when taken. Yeah, this would definitely be a drug everyone would want to take. However, 3 years after Hapna's introduction to the world at large, an inventor, Dr. Skinner, suddenly emerges from an unexplained self-exile in doing so uploading a video to the internet and revealing to the world that the drug's short effectiveness period eventually gives way to immediate death, and time will soon be up for anyone who took it. Man, oh man, what a plot. Enter Axel Gilberto, a young Brazilian prisoner who was originally given a short jail sentence on charges of petty crime, but has since racked up a required total of 888 years behind bars due to his continual and often successful attempts at breaking out of whatever facility happens to house him. You know, it's interesting to me. Everybody has their slant, their view. And it's interesting to me watching anime sometime because all of the characters to me look Asian. And I'm pretty sure somebody who's watched anime for any length of time can tell the difference in how they draw characters, which makes me wonder. I wonder if some of people in other countries look at maybe something that was animated or drawn in the United States, even when we're representing someone from somewhere else. I wonder if they look at these things and say, man, they just all look American. I always think that when I'm looking at this stuff. Faced with an inability to locate Dr. Skinner and even an ever-ticking timer to mass death, the U.S. government eventually taps Axel to track down the madman, placing him placing him on the eponymous Lazarus Spec Ops team alongside a group of other specialists. Very interesting. However, rather than a futuristic thriller, Watanabe recently told Japanese MantaWeb that he originally floated the idea of using Adult Swim's investment to fund a project similar in tone to his 2014 outing Space Dandy, stylized as Space Star Dandy. I guess that's supposed to be, but network boss Jason DeMarco ultimately dismissed the prospect. As translated via ChatGPT, man, ChatGPT is being used for everything now. Reflecting on the series' development process ahead of its American and Japanese broadcast premiere on April 6th. Oh, so I guess it broadcast. Anybody watch this? Tell me how it was. The esteemed anime director explained, this is an original anime with no source material. So the staff, including myself, are creating it from scratch. I'll tell you one thing I really love. I love when creators come up with something brand spanking new from scratch, something that has never been created before, a completely original idea. And I just realized that my audio is not coming through. My audio is coming through. Okay, man, I thought I messed up here. I was looking at my looking at my settings. Okay. So anyway, like I was saying, I love it when creators come up with something completely brand spanking new. I love it completely. For me, this is more exciting than something that pulls from something else. But that's not to say that I have a problem with something that pulls from something else. But I love new creative things. Okay, anime. Where did I leave off? Japanese broadcast, April 6th, explained this original anime with no source material. I read that. Initially, we received an offer from Cartoon Network, the company that broadcasts anime in the US, saying, we'll fully fund it, but we want you to make an original anime. The president, Jason DeMarco, is a big fan of Cowboy Bebop and a huge music enthusiast, Watanabe continued. He said, I can tell the way you use music is unusual. I want you to make a show like that. He also said, we'd like a sci-fi action series. When I asked if something like Space Dandy would work, he replied, no, we want something more serious. They basically trusted me as a director, and there wasn't much micromanagement of the content, he added. Typically, with American collaborations, there can be a lot of interference, but this time I was able to create more freely, and I believe the current market conditions probably led to that. I believe a lot of these studios are probably now beginning to realize we need to leave these guys alone and let them create. Fans like what they do, and if we continue to mess with their stuff, we're not going to make money. You would think this would be obvious, but it's not so obvious to some of these studios. I don't understand it. Almost like they don't want to make money. To this end, the Cowboy Bebop legend then detail how, in light of both this request and both Adult Swim's residents in Canada, as well as hosting network cartoon networks in the United States, he chose the theme Lazarus story around North America's ongoing opioid crisis. Man, that is great insight on his part. I can see, reading about some of these anime and manga authors, been doing a little bit of that. I understand why people have gravitated toward this so much, because they haven't been fed by the American market as far as creation and cartoons and comics. I get it. Although it may not be well known in Japan, the opioid crisis is a major issue in the US and other countries, and it has inspired this story, he said. It is a situation where people are dying from opioids, which are prescribed painkillers. For example, Michael Jackson's death was reportedly caused by opioids, and many other musicians have also died because of it. As a music lover, this is a major issue for me. It's strange that these drugs are legal, and I begin to think, why are these drugs allowed? What if someone deliberately created and spread such a drug to kill many people? That's where the inspiration for this story came from, man. He might actually be onto something. You never know. Featuring overall direction by Watanabe and action coordination by John Wick franchise director Chad Stahelski. The 4-episode run of Lazarus is now airing via Cartoon Network's Saturday night Toonami block. Wow, this is actually, look, I'm not even a guy that's into anime or manga like that, but even I recognize that this is a big deal. And I would like some of you anime and manga people to comment and let me know how big this is. I think it's big, but maybe I'm mistaken. Maybe this is a small thing. Something tells me that there's going to be a lot of comments of people saying, nah, this is pretty huge, bro.